All right, so today I'm with the multi-talented, fabulous Isaac Mizrahi. How are you doing today?
I'm okay, actually. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Glad you're doing okay.
You know, people ask that question all the time, how are you? And if you toss off, oh, I'm fine. But the thing is, like, who is okay? I mean, who is better than okay right now? It's such a funny, crazy, nutty time,
I know,
right?
right?
Uh,
Yes. I mean,
Everybody's like, if you're okay, you're great.
if you're okay, you're just doing okay. I mean, with the way the world is, the election coming up, who knows how
Oh,
anyone is going.
darling,
I mean,
darling, that
seriously.
too. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Isaac, again, thank you for taking some time to chat with me. And let me begin by asking, how excited are you to return to 54 Below with your show, Isaac Mizrahi, A Brief History?
I'm thrilled. I can't say. I mean, like that is thrilling. And I will say, like when you're on stage in a great club like 54 Below, um, you're better than okay. You're fabulous, like no matter what. And I'll tell you what, like I don't love the summer. The summer is like I have this crazy like opposite reaction to everybody else when I know it's summer. I start getting a little hysterical. I actually have like that reverse SAD thing, like, seasonal disorder. I start getting really scared. And this is the thing, like doing that gig, knowing that I'm doing that gig, like especially like in August when the summer's almost over,
Mhm.
fills me with such incredible hope and such incredible excitement about actually looking forward to something in the summer, but also marking the end of the summer.
Yeah.
Like Labor Day weekend, darling. I think it's like the best weekend of the whole year to me.
Yes.
You know it's over. And
Mhm.
so I think it's going to be really fun. And I'm really looking forward to kind of living that incredible life that you live on stage that you don't live anywhere else?
Yeah, for sure. So, for those who aren't really familiar with this production, what can audiences expect?
Well, I mean, um, I know this sounds like a kooky thing, but there's music in the show, right?
Okay.
And it's a fine, fine, fine band. Let's see, a piano, it's like a rhythm section and a horn. So it's four pieces and me, right? Um, and um, and and I have to tell you, like, um, I don't want to sound crazy, but it is like a lot of people just can't believe how good the music is?
Mhm.
I think that's basically about the band, but also, darling, I'm not a bad singer when it comes down to it. I mean, you know what? I remember when I was an interview, when I had my interview show, for
Mhm.
those years on Oxygen and then Style and whatever it was. But and I had it, and I talked to Elaine Stritch,
Yeah.
like I was
Mhm.
doing the pre-interview, and I said, "Well, I think you're a great musician." He said, "Oh, darling, I'm a great raconteuse. I know how to put a song across, right?" And the thing is, like, I feel like that was what she was told, Elaine. That's what they told Elaine all those years. Yeah, darling, you're a great raconteuse. And I was like, no, no, whoa, 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 stop, stop, stop everything. Like, I think you're a great musician. I
Yeah.
think you're a great singer. This is what I said to Elaine because she had such an incredible sense she was so musical, like her phrasing was incredible. She was usually very, very on key,
Yeah.
like she could really carry a tune. And so, like, I feel like you could say that about me. It's like I am a raconteur, but I also am very well versed in the comings and goings of singing and music,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
there you go. So that's a lot of it. But what's really fun is that, I really don't honestly like I'm going to be taking questions from the audience.
Okay.
They're going to write them on cards, which I think is a much more, yeah, no audience participation.
Okay.
Lights will not be going on in the house. Okay. So that you can rest assured you can come and drink and have fun and not worry that someone's going to call your name, right?
Yeah.
But people write questions for me on cards. So that like changes the whole game. That kind of makes it really, really intimate because I am answering questions on the spot.
Mhm. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also think I'm going to be doing this thing whereby I regift. I do this every time at 54 Below. I collect things all year that people give me, like ridiculous things that I don't want, and I
Okay.
give them away. Things like I don't know, like magic bullets and really dumb things like extension cords that whatever it is. You'll see the things that I collect over the year and I regift. And it's one of the best segments that I do in that club.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Well, can you talk a little bit more about how the origin of this production came to be?
Sure. I mean, Well, like when you talk about it as a production, I'm very impressed with it. I'm very impressed with myself. I mean, it is definitely a production, but it's not, it's an ongoing, I work with these musicians all the time,
Yeah. Mhm.
and we book into different, we book into the Carlisle, we book into different clubs occasionally
Okay.
and theaters. And and so like this is different in that it's, a lot of new material that I've developed for 54 Below for this particular moment. There's also a few new songs, and there are going to be some guests, and I can't tell you who they are exactly yet because they're not all confirmed, but
Gotcha.
there are going to be four different guests for the four different shows. And so
Okay.
it's called potluck. If you like me, you will probably love the guests I have in store.
Perfect.
One thing I know we've already announced is I'm going to have Jake Cohen. I don't know if you know who that is. He's
Name
this
sounds familiar.
he's like this amazing chef who's really cute and
Okay.
he's really tall and has this amazing body. And if you go on Instagram, he has like 1 million followers, of course. And
Okay.
he's like the challah king. So he'll probably like give audience a demonstration of braiding a challah. Like, and
Okay. Okay.
that's one thing that's going to happen.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I think that's really, really good.
Yeah.
Um, Braiding a challah, man, that is not as easy as it sounds. It's
I,
not. It's
I
not
can't
really. And
imagine.
I wish I could convince him to do it in a Speedo because he did it once on his Instagram in a Speedo, and it was like,
Mm.
what? I'm like, what? I can't keep my really what? Who bred a challah? You
No way
know,
of convincing him to do that.
no, but he said his arms will be on major display, so
Okay,
you
okay,
get
we
the
got the
arms,
arms.
if
Okay,
not
still a
Speedo.
little something. Yes, yes. Well, your show has music ranging from Billie Eilish to Cole Porter. How do
Yeah.
you pick and choose which songs to include?
Well, again, it's like this ongoing thing that I have. And
Mhm.
this show is called A Brief History, right? I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, it is a very brief history of like who I am. But I think most shows, even when they're more themed or something, when like it's a Christmas show or something or a springtime show or whatever, it's
Mhm.
always autobiographical.
Oh
And so
yeah.
to answer your question about music, a lot of it comes from my past and my childhood, or stuff that I hear now that really kind of moves me.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
and we cover things, I think, I hope, in a really interesting and different way.
Mhm.
I do, for instance, I do this one thing, which is that Cole Porter song, You're the Top, which I just think is an hilarious. It's my favorite song based on the title.
Mhm.
You are the top. Yeah. And I do that number, but I write all these new lyrics, and I'm really like racking my brains at the moment to think of some fabulous new lyrics for that song. So
Mhm.
there's that. Also, I do this Billie Eilish song, the Barbies, like What Was I Made For?
Mhm.
And and it's a really different way of covering it. You probably won't even recognize it,
Okay.
except you know the tune, but it sounds so different, from when she kind of does that incredible, incredible performance to me.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I'm not kidding. I think it just for that alone, it's kind of like worth the admission.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Anyway, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Definitely. And you have performed at 54 Below several times before. What
Yes.
makes this venue so special to you?
I love it because, well, first of all, I have a lot of memories in the theater. I
Mhm.
worked in that theater on a production of Three Penny Opera, which I designed in like 2005 or something
Mhm.
like that, with Alan Cumming and Cyndi Lauper and all these kooky, fabulous people. And we kind of lived in that theater for a long time. So I have that already. But the thing is, like, it's right in the theater district. It's kind of like no one's embarrassed of their kind of theater heritage in that room.
Yeah.
Like it's just a bunch of theater kooks, theater geeks. And so I kind of fit right in so many ways.
Mhm.
So many ways. And so that's what I love about it. I love that and also the food's really good. And I
Oh
love
yeah.
eating food. I swear to God, the food is really good. And I love the situation. I love the stage is bigger than a lot of
Mhm.
clubs. I love that. Like there's actually a way to like move around and sort of address all the different parts of the audience, aside
Plus.
from just, standing and sort of telescoping. And there's
Yes.
a lot of things I love about it, but mostly it's the Broadway
Mhm.
bent thing. Yeah.
Yes, awesome, for sure. Now, you have worked extensively in the entertainment industry as a performer, host, writer, producer, but millions know you for your contributions to fashion.
Yeah.
Why did you initially go down the fashion route and not the performance route?
Well, I tell this story very often, but I'm very happy to tell it again because I feel like the more I tell it, the more I become what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And like because when I was a kid, I started, doing female impersonations,
Hmm.
right? Like that was the first thing I ever did. I did Streisand, I did Liza Minnelli, I did Shirley Bassey. I did like, a lot of great impressions, which let me tell you something, in the 1970s when I was a kid, this was not a source of pride for the Mizrahi
Yeah.
family. Let me tell you, it was not. Yeah, um, and so it was like I was always like it was. They always looked at me like, "Are you really going to do that again?" You could feel the sort of the consternation. You could feel the. Oh, my mother and my father were so like, "Oh, you're not gonna. That's the kid doing the fucking Shirley Bassey in the alleyway again." And there's like a crowd of people in the alley listening to this person,
Hmm.
and um, and so and then I went to performing arts high school. I was in the drama department and that movie Fame, I was in Fame. That was the
Yeah.
year I graduated from Fame. They made the movie, so we were all in it. And that year was a particularly crazy and like eventful year in my life when I decided that I wasn't good looking enough or kind of leading man enough to
Hmm.
get cast the way some of my friends in school. I mean, they were gorgeous people and they had these gorgeous little bodies. I mean, they were
Yeah.
budding movie stars. And I was like, this little meeskite in the corner. I was very, very fat when I was a kid. When I got to performing arts, I started to lose weight. I lost about 75 pounds from the
Oh,
day I
wow.
entered that school. I know that's a lot of weight. From the day I entered that school to the day I graduated school. But it was already done. The deed was done. I was fat. I
Yeah.
often say this, it was like one of the first emotions I ever had, fat, you
Hmm.
know, if such a thing as fat could be an emotion, but it is. Anyway, and the point is that I didn't see myself, I needed to get out of the house I lived in. And I thought it would be easier to like, get a job as a design assistant. And I was good at it. I was doing it.
Yeah. Hmm.
I had this like innate kind of ability. I was sketching and making clothes. My father was in the children's clothing business. He had factories. There were like sewing machines in the basement. I mean, it's a whole crazy thing. So I started doing that. And when I was a senior in college, I just, you know what, my parents, I could feel their kind of hesitation about letting their son go into show business, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I took that opportunity to just make the decision to go to Parsons School of
Right.
Design,
Okay.
and I applied and I made it and I went and I was so sad. All of my friends were going off to Juilliard or
Hmm.
to purchase or something, and there I was, like, kind of saying farewell. And it was very sad. And it was also like really fun in those days. Like, design was great, great, great life.
Yeah.
And that one thing led to another. And I'm not bad at it. I'm quite good at fashion. And
Hmm.
so it became this crazy thing. And it went, and the whole time I'm thinking, like, oh, what did I do? Why have I done this? And now when I look at others like me and I think, well, they got cast in something, why couldn't I be
Yeah.
cast? And so anyway, so now I'm trying to turn that around.
Right around. Hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Awesome.
turn it around. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've read in some other articles that you said that your love for fashion has kind of dwindled over the last couple of years. Is that true?
No, yes. I mean, in certain respects, of
Okay.
certain
Yeah.
aspects of fashion has dwindled. Yes. I feel that it has become this like very, very kind of exclusionary thing where only a certain number of people like really understand it.
Hmm.
And I'm not exactly one of them. I mean, I get it, but I look at it and I think like, come on. I mean, really, that is so. So I'm not really exactly sure. Like, there's that part of it, but also, after a while, it's those people who can afford, like 6,000 or 8,000 or $12,000 for a tiny little jacket or a dress or something.
Yeah.
It's a very, very specific crowd, and not that I don't adore them because I have a lot of close friends who do that. You
Hmm.
know, but to limit myself to that felt a little bit, I don't know what it felt like, a little small for the experience that I was
Okay.
after.
Yeah.
So I ended up, like doing the secondary line, and then I did the Target thing, and then now I have a very beautiful business on QVC.
Mm.
But of course, the clothes I make it's really just a matter of like sort of looking through prints that I love
Yeah.
and deciding on necklines and how to make something a little bit smaller or larger, or I do fittings and I'm involved with the design process, but it's more like it's more like a daily thing, like a cooking dinner. It's like cooking dinner,
Hmm. Yeah. I
like
get that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, yeah. Well, going more into the performance route, you made your Broadway debut in 2022 in Chicago as Amos Hart. What was that experience like?
That was so amazing. And I can't believe it was 2022. You're right. Like
Yeah,
it
just
feels
like
like it was yesterday. I,
yeah.
s- I still have an ankle injury from the dance. No, it was so thrilling and so scary. And I feel like I have to do something like that again because I have to remind myself that I'm not just good at doing my shows on stage in front of cabaret audiences or in front of bigger audiences. I do this show on the road sometimes. I do it in front of
Yeah.
1,000 people or sometimes like 3,000. Like the audiences can be very big, but it's not the size of the audience. It's just the idea of memorizing, making a mark, making a light cue, getting in your light, saying the line so that someone else can play the trombone or whatever their cue is. It's a series of cues, right?
hmm
And there's something so thrilling and exhausting and terrifying, but so rewarding,
Right. hmm
And I think if I do something again in the theater, I would love it to be like, because Amos is one of the great parts. I just think it's
Yeah.
a great part. It's also like, one song and a couple of scenes,
hmm
right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of it is spent in the dressing room, like freaking out over the next thing you have to be on stage. And also in that incredible theater that's like this, the dressing rooms are upstairs. So
Yeah.
you're constantly going up and downstairs, up and downstairs. I mean, that was good exercise. But you see what I mean? I wish I was on stage more. Like next time I want to do Roxy
Okay.
of,
Yeah.
no, seriously, that's what I want to do.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Very nice. What's on Broadway or playing in New York right now that you would say is a must see?
If I were to tell you,
Yes.
well, Broadway specifically, I would say Stereophonic because
Okay.
I went to that not really expecting to get it or like it so much, and I loved it. Oh my God. I mean,
Okay.
I'll tell you what the best part of that was. I mean, aside from the acting and the art direction and the lighting and everything was so good, but really the writing was something so spectacular in there, right? It was so detailed and like it just overlapped and layered and like lace. It was like this beautiful lacy dialogue, right? So I would really recommend you see that. And then the other thing that I saw that I absolutely loved was the Jellicle Ball. Did you see that down?
I have not. Nope. I heard
You
great
know
things.
what? You know what, girl? You're welcome.
Okay.
See,
Jellicle Ball.
it's amazing. I mean, just Andre DeShields walks on stage and you're like, wow. And then, Junior LaBeouf's in the fucking thing. I mean, like, it's
Yes.
unbelievable. It's got such a great cast and it's a great production. And it's, Cats, never my ultimate favorite. I've always liked Cats, but like,
Hmm.
this makes me love Cats.
Okay. I'm gonna put this out there, and a lot of people know this about me, but Cats is one of my least favorite musicals. I
Yeah, no, I know,
no,
I know, I
not like
know. I'm being nice. Honestly, the last time I saw Cats was in London when it first came out with my mother in like 1980, whatever. I'm serious, 1970, whatever that was.
yeah.
That was the last time I saw Cats. And I don't think about it. I don't dislike it. There are some beautiful songs, but this made me I'm telling you, the ironies. And when Grisabella, whatever that character's name is,
Mhm.
when she finally sings Memory, you just are gone. There's an irony built into this. I'm telling you, really.
Okay. Okay.
Really,
Next time I'm in New York, I'll make sure to see the Jellicle Ball.
it's
Yes.
very sort of like it's very kind of formal because it's
Okay.
it's in the style of the balls.
Hmm.
And so, and like it's like the way Baroque music kind of just gets you.
Oh,
It's like
yeah.
all of a sudden it just gets you because it's so rigid and formal.
hmm
That's what you'll see with this. It's like a lot of that incredible ball dancing, and then suddenly something happens and you're like, oh my God, like Andre DeShields walks on stage. You're like, what?
Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Well, Isaac, what are some future goals or other future goals you hope to accomplish with your career and platform?
Well, I mean, it sounds so ridiculous. I don't rule out this idea of writing a novel. I've been writing
Okay.
this novel. I hope it gets published. I'm not sure it will.
Mhm.
Um, so that's something, right? But also writing for theater, writing for television, writing for I just, we just got this show picked up that I'm a consulting producer on, which is
Okay.
that called Mid-Century Modern.
Okay.
Nathan Lane and Nathan Lee Graham
Yeah.
and Matt Bomer and Linda Lavin. I mean, excuse me, like what a cast, right? It
I
was
know,
just picked
right?
up on Hulu. I have a tiny little role as a consulting producer, but I'm really proud of it because I did work on it, and I'm now more in show business than I am in any other business.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I don't know, like a lot of gigs. I have a million shows coming up across the country in 2025. I have something like 50 shows
Oh,
already just
wow.
in the first half of 2025. I know I'm really excited. This show, this 54 Below, like this genre is really kind of dominant in my life.
Mhm.
You know?
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
want to do more of that. I want to do like I was thinking maybe I should also develop just a show of talking with no music in it. You
Okay.
know, I
Hmm.
would really love to do that, right? Because every time I did a show, I had a one-man show off Broadway in 2000 and 2001, right? Or it was either 98 and 2000. I mean, it went on for so long, but it ran for about a year, and there was music in that. And that's when I started working with Ben Walzer,
Okay.
director that I'm working with now at 54
Mhm.
Below. And I love it. And it helps me get on stage. Like there's something on stage besides me, and it's music, and you have to rise to the occasion and do the opening number, and then you go, hey, oh my God, I'm here. It's like,
Yeah.
and you're there, but it's a way of like entering. Whereas like when I think of doing something with no music, just going, oh, hi, everybody. How are you tonight? Here, I'm going to tell you this thing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, that is not so easy. You know what I mean? As
Definitely.
a performer, and a whole other thing if you're walking on stage and you're doing, speak the speech I pray you as I pronounce it to you trippingly on the tongue. That I can do. Not necessarily Hamlet, because I'm a little old for Hamlet, but like, yeah, but I
Yeah.
could do not Lear yet. I could do something. I don't know, Macbeth maybe, but yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Well, how can one stay up to date with you?
How can one?
Stay up to date with you.
Well, there's my website. You can go to helloisaac.com or my Instagram page, which is I am Isaac Mizrahi,
Okay. Perfect.
which is
Then, then before we wrap up, are there any other upcoming projects or anything else you would like to mention or plug at this time?
No, I mean, aside from my show coming up at 54 Below, and then I don't know when that show, I mean, they just greenlit it, so they have to write it and then they have to shoot it. So probably sometime next spring, I'm guessing, on Hulu.
On Hulu? Okay.
Yeah, but that's it. I can't think of anything else in the moment to promote. But thank you
Okay.
for
Well, yeah, of course. Just stay tuned. Perfect.